Hello everyone and welcome to a very special RuneScape Developer Q&A. I am Mod Journey, being joined by Mod Connor and Mod Osborne. It is going to be these two wonderful people with me all the way through the stream. We'll also be getting joined by Mod Sailing towards the end of the stream, but today's stream is all about big questions, really important topics to touch on, and what better way to do that than having you two here. So first of all, how are you guys doing? Big question to start off.
Good. We've just had a refurb, so everything's been jiggled about a bit. We're no longer close to you. Who am I going to give my chocolate to? Whenever I get accidentally more chocolate out of the vending machine, it always goes to Sean.
I like how you had to clarify that one.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we moved floors.
But we've moved floors and it looks great. It's got, how would you describe it?
We have grids.
Yeah.
We've got desks.
Yes, that's the main thing.
There's a lot of grey.
Yes.
Some nice deep wooden browns.
Once again, Connor is inspiring. It's amazing.
Oh, you just caught me. I wasn't ready for this at all.
You were totally ready. All right, so just to clarify what's going to happen here, there's no real theme to our stream. We're going to be going through multiple questions relating to different kind of topics. There's a lot to discuss, so we'll just be going through this and we'll see how long we go. So let's just jump into this. First of all, delay in updates, which has happened with Bounty Hunter, Mine and Smithing. Why? And is this set to become a regular occurrence moving forward with any other upcoming updates?
I think the best way to put this is we've definitely hit a few things in the recent months where we've had to delay. I think we've made the right decisions in all cases. We've looked at what we were trying to ship. We've looked at what the expectation would be when it ships and didn't feel it would meet it. In no way do I think that's what we should be doing in the future. If you look at the first half of the year, like up until August, we were pretty on the ball. Like we were hitting dates, we were getting the right things at the right time.
Let's look at our hit rate from the start of the year. Yeah. It was pretty good.
We've definitely slipped a bit in the past couple of months. And when something major slips, something like mining and smithing, you can expect a number of things to kind of try and catch up and fill that space. And so what we're going to be doing through November and December is you'll see like that kind of recovery happening is we're getting back on top of things and everything's are going in the right place. So things pretty much the end of the year should be solid.
Does this kind of change with the move to expansions as well then?
Well, it puts an extra emphasis on us requiring delivery at the right time. So we're looking to build for that big hit. That date becomes far more important. We want to make a big celebration out of them. So we need to make sure we're confident about what we're delivering.
Gotcha. All right. So I've got a question here from, I guess, Hacker Iron Man in abbreviations, MB. What other MMOs do you study and what lessons have you learned and wish to apply or avoid implementing to RuneScape?
Cool. Very good question. We have good links with CCP, with Eve. We've had them come visit us. We're going to hopefully go see them soon, just because obviously they've got a similar legacy to us, a long-term game, similar complexities to the game, that sort of thing. There are quite a few players of MMOs around. We harvest people for it. I don't play as many MMOs as I should, but I know there's a lot of WoW players, Guild Wars 2 players.
Yeah, we tend to try and watch what's currently out, but also trying to get on top of some of the smaller browser MMOs. One of the big things we've had in the past couple of years is the number of free-to-play ones that are starting to come out, and the number of bigger titles that are starting to go free-to-play. So we have people who are playing Lotro, people who are looking at SWOTOR, those kinds of things. So we're looking at those bigger games and what they're doing with story and what they're doing with like fantasy settings.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything from that you kind of learned from these games?
Black Desert has a lovely approach to narrative that I like. Albion has a good kind of ally system. You can kind of almost have a guild of you, which obviously helps with when we're thinking about what that design might look like. So particular games offer particular things, yeah.
Gotcha.
Try and make sure they're RuneScape-ified.
Yeah, we don't just steal. Come on.
Question from Chigsy. What does the development cycle look like? For example, planning, meetings, etc. So I guess to make this easier to explain, let's say you have a project from start to finish. I mean, can you summarize how it goes?
Summarize? Do you want me to do an entire stream?
No.
It's stream, right?
You have 20 seconds.
We have joked about the fact that does anybody actually want to see a stream about how the production cycle works?
I guarantee you a lot of people would say yes.
So the way we look at this is we work in Scrum. So that's something that people can look up and read about if they want to. There are core parts that work on that. The main thing is that we work on 2 weekly cycles, where at the start of the 2 weeks, development team gets together, so the people that we know about, like The Watch, Guardians, the Dukes, come together and they look at what they're trying to achieve in the next 2 weeks, like what kind of things are on a backlog. They then take in as much as they feel they can achieve in that 2 weeks, and then they go flat out for those 2 weeks, trying to fix as much as possible, catching up all the time, all day, making sure everything's moving smoothly, highlighting any problems. And then at the end of those 2 weeks, they bring it all together for a big review where, like, Dave, myself...
Just tomorrow, in fact.
Yeah, it's actually tomorrow. We go through what's changed, what are the new things being delivered, add feedback, and make sure that we can tweak and change it so that we're continuously adjusting what we're building all the way through development, so it's a better thing, a better product when we come out at the end of it. So that's how the raw day-to-day goes. If we're talking about overarching long-term planning and understanding capacity, that's where we start going into. This will take longer than 20 seconds.
How long has Scrum been a thing at Jagex? Or in RuneScape's processes?
It's been a couple of years now, so we've been refining our process. So part of working in an agile way is that in one way you're looking at iterating the product. So each 2 weeks we add an extra piece on and adjust to make sure that we're aiming in the right direction. But at the same time we also look at how we work. So every 2 weeks we sit down and we have a talk, like each of the teams will sit down with themselves and discuss what went well, what didn't go so well, what should we keep doing, what do we need to start doing, and then tweak how we work. So at the same time we're tweaking and improving RuneScape, we're also tweaking RuneScape and tweaking and changing how we build RuneScape, so everything gets better over time. And it has been, I don't know, it's probably been about 4 years, 3-4 years now. So.
Would you say, is Scrum still going to be a thing when it goes to expansion still?
Oh, absolutely.
So the process is still remain. Okay.
One of the things that we need to really make sure we don't do with expansions is like dev for 3, 4, 5 months, and then at the end of 5 months you go, did anybody play this? Is it any fun? And then everybody goes, well, no. And so then we've got to put 2 weeks to try and smash some fun into the thing and get it out the door. That can't happen. So what we'll be doing is we'll always be focusing on it being playable and testable throughout the development.
Awesome. Question from Louis Ellen. Can we expect a mobile-friendly RuneScape website one day for those that browse the site using a phone or a tablet?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, that's fine.
No, it's something that we are working on. You'll see that some of the splash pages that we've been working on, some of the things
we did the RuneFest page with mobile.
RuneFest, the ARCs kind of splash page with a list of things that it'll be featuring. Also, I think I think we're doing one for Fate of the Gods, Children of Ma. And those pages are the direction we're starting to move in. So those are responsive, is how we describe it. And depending on the size of the screen you're looking at it will adjust the content on the page to make it legible rather than having to, pinch and zoom.
Gotcha. Pony Moni. Oh, goodness me. What is being done to further entice new players to join in on RuneScape?
I think achievements is a big one for us. I know when we went on stage to talk about achievements, it may have seemed like a kind of end game long-term player kind of update, but there's a big element of it that's going to help with getting people in the game. It's one of the problems that we found is there are no real kind of short-term objectives for a new starting player, not much direction. So once you run out of the path system, you don't have much left. What achievements does is clearly we've got a recommendation system within the achievement system that kind of says you're in this area, maybe do this, or maybe you're this progress through your levels, why not do this? So it's going to be really friendly to that kind of player, and I think there's for next year that's the biggest update for me for attracting new players. And of course, expansions is such a big thing to shout about that'll probably draw in some new players, and obviously we all want that. Not only because it means more development resource for us if we make more money, it means that there's more people and it's a healthier game.
Do we see anything such as the pathing system or anything like that changing as a result of this? Or?
So we have, and some people would have seen some comments from Mod Wolver through the year. We have a team that are going to be dedicated. We call them growth, which is horrible.
Team Bacon.
Team Bacon.
Team Bacon. Okay.
And so those guys are looking at, you'll have seen some things like, if you log back into the game and it's been a long time, we open your friends list. It's things to make it...
Actually sends a message to your friends as well,
which
is really cool.
So all these little things that we've done to try and make it a little bit of a smoother experience. And so there's small things that we've changed, and we've got some bigger things that will be coming in through 2017.
Awesome. All right, Madiem, how long do the RuneScape 3 devs have to wait until they release content that Old School is making, like Monkey Madness 2 and Fossil Island? Obviously, that content needs to make its way to RuneScape 3, albeit differently, but what sort of time frame would you think it's best to wait?
I'm not going to slap an exact time on it. It feels a bit weird doing that, but I would certainly say I'd like them to have kind of a breathing room, their own update. So Monkey Madness 2, I wouldn't have wanted to come out a couple of months after with the Monkey Madness 2, because all that people would do is compare to the detriment of one of the two updates, perhaps. I also don't want it to mean that we will never do a Monkey Madness 2 or we'll never do a Fossil Island. I think it's perfectly valid that Old School could also do an Elf City at some point in the future. You know, we're friendly, we're not antagonistic. We want to share these kind of updates, to be honest.
There
is no specific time frame. I suppose that's the clean answer to the question.
Yeah.
I prefer longer answers that ramble and last.
Awesome. Deathmask97 asks, are there any voice-acted quests planned for the future?
One thing I can say is that we're more welcome to the idea of having portions of a quest be voice acted. So before we were talking about, like, if we don't voice act everything, we're not doing it. That's kind of changed a little bit. And if there are significant cutscenes, that sort of thing, we would be open to doing that. At the moment, the quests for this year don't have voice acting.
Okay.
That may change as they get closer to the end date and they have time to do it. But they're looking to make the best quest experience.
We talk a lot about how we can get voice into the game in a different way. The overhead of voicing everything in every line is significant in getting that voice work done, and it causes an overhead if we want to fix anything or change anything in the future. So where there's a disconnect between the text and voice. So what we want to do is have the flavor and the immersion caused by having voice acting, but also make sure that we can continue to update the game. Cutscenes are a great example of where it works quite nicely. Maybe single lines of like welcome and goodbye dialogue for key characters, stuff like that can be done as well.
And obviously, if you want to keep Modraven employed, you have to let him screech in the game at some point as Brassica or a demon or something, so we have to do it.
All right. Gods Are Tired asks, will the expansions approach be used to finish off various quest storylines?
Yes. Yeah, that's important to me. I think when people look at the quests we announced on stage, they saw, Elder Gods, Evil Dave, they saw what was coming with Menaphos. And we're like, you talk about finishing off 5th Age, but maybe there isn't much 5th Age. Future expansions next year are going to be looking at finishing storylines. It doesn't have to all be new, fresh storylines. There will be some, but they're also an opportunity to finish. Because we can bolt onto the continent, we can pull the storyline into it. And when we talk about like existing 5th Age storylines, they all seem to come with a land mass. Like Gnomes is Alpissandra, Penguins are Acheron, all of these things, they seem to fit an expansion model, if anything.
Awesome. What will happen to the resources allocated to the Old School and RuneScape teams in 2017? Every time I log in, there seem to be more players playing on Old School than RuneScape 3, and they have a much smaller team.
So we'll be continuing to grow out the Old School team. We're discussing how best to do that, make sure that Old School gets the support that it needs.
But it won't reduce.
Without reducing the RuneScape investment. So we're also looking at the whole company, like all of Jagex is looking at better ways to support Old School. It's vibrant and healthy community. We want to make sure that they have a long-term future and that we can do everything we can to make sure it grows.
Yeah.
Awesome. Why do MTX promos always get the best rewards? For example, Beyond the Arc. I mean, that can be a very funny. That can be a
oh my God, you got me.
And okay, I'll repeat the question. I'll repeat the question again.
I would also like to apologise.
Why do MTX promos always get the best rewards, and why are they not available via in-game content? We can kind of touch on the in-game content, I think, with what's coming out next week with the outfits. But I mean, if you want to answer that question first, if that's okay.
So this is something that we're looking at the moment, and a way that we can try and spread rewards throughout the game. It's not like there's a pool of rewards that MTX decide to grab. But what we do want to do is when people invest and make purchases, we want to make sure that they feel rewarded. But what we're trying to work on now is also make sure that if you are investing your time into the game, you still feel rewarded and you still get access to these things. So we have changes that we need to make. And the elite skill outfits are the start of us.
It's a good example of.
I mean, I'll just use it. I'll just segue very quickly. So if you don't know, next Monday we will be releasing the 2 outfits that you'll be able to gain in-game via skilling activities. That is the ethereal outfit for rune crafting and the, I've had a complete brain fart. I think it's gemstone for mining. I might be wrong. Gemstone going for mining, yeah. So you will be able to access them via skilling in-game. The full details, of course, will be on Monday's news post when it releases, but that is the start, and the plan is, obviously, as time goes on, that we introduce more and more ways to get more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, just to cover one other part that I think people were mentioning was that there was also the kind of graphical fidelity of like items that come from promos as opposed to like stuff I get from game content. Like they look better, and that is something that we've actually looked to change developmentally in our terms of our process. Whenever the core of it is this, that whenever people are in charge, the teams that are in charge of game updates, putting together a game update, they have to balance a reward against all the other stuff they're doing, like the story, if it's a quest, like do I put that into a character mod, things like that. Promos don't have that same issue. So we're just looking at better ways that, we could use that same resource that promos are using to actually do retention rewards, and you'll start to see some parity, like they'll look as good as each other.
Awesome. I think Mod Ollie big to that, but one, he mentioned a certain outfit you can get from Children of Ma that looks really awesome in regards to what you just said. So definitely keep an eye out for that one. Question from Dusty Turbo Turtle. Can you give us any insight to the future of PVM? RuneFest Mod Day kind of teased that we'd have tier 105 weapons with level 99 wield requirements roughly 5 years from now. It took roughly 3 to 4 years just to go from tier 90 to tier 92. How will we go through tiers so fast? And are there going to be tons of bosses released in those 5 years?
Oh, that's quite a few questions.
Okay, so let's go with the first one. How do we go through tiers so fast compared to taking so long to go from 90 to 92?
Yeah, there were things that... So we were releasing kind of elements, so armour pieces, weapons, very piecemeal fashion. When it came to kind of a few years ago. We don't have to do that. So the only thing that was stopping us from accelerating is putting more, more gear per boss. So, for example, Araxor came with, a weapon, for mage, ranged, and melee, for example. So we could speed it up. The reason we're not speeding it up is because we're already out-leveling pretty much everything we have in the game. If a boss is delivering great gear, then what am I fighting? I'm just defeating the Slayer mobs I can already defeat at a much faster rate. What we want to do is, we're bringing up the mobs. And that's why we're talking about things like Slayer to 120, a new Slayer dungeon, why we're really looking at bringing up the challenge so that you have some reason to tier up that weaponry. We could go to, I can't remember what the example was. Was it like 115 or something like that?
It said to 105 in 5 years as well.
Yeah, we could go at that accelerated rate. We don't have to. We could go slow, we go faster. We're just going to kind of play it by ear. Yeah, sorry, I don't know if I've answered every single one.
No. There's another question on top of that, which is, are there going to be tons of bosses released in the next 5 years?
So I really like the pattern we've got. Often I see questers looking at PVMers and saying, oh, they get a boss every year. Don't like that, it's very adversarial. Oh, there's a Slayer dungeon every year. PVMers, people who really like their bossing, like digest content just like a quester does. They're looking for a new challenge, always looking for something interesting to play. So I like that pattern of every year release a boss that produces weaponry that defeats a new tier of Slayer creature, a new challenge on Slayer, and then we do the same the year after that. And that gives a kind of cadence of like content to digest that I think PVM really likes. And off that we can talk about like multi-way bossing, whether or not there's Shattered World style content and things like that as a spin-off to that. But yeah, that's generally the pattern I like for the next year or two.
Gotcha. Legal Evil asks, why are you not planning to increase maximum combat skill levels from 99 to 120 along with Slayer?
We could do. It would be a deal more work. What that would do is create... So, combat skills, how many do we have? We have 3 melee. We've got attack, strength, defense. You've got magic, you've got ranged. Could take constitution up there as well. That's not even talking about prayer summoning, maybe herb lore. That is a lot of stuff to level. What we've just seen with Slayer to 120 and the reaction to that has been a lot of compers, a lot of people who are wary of that's a lot of work.
What is that specific reaction? What reaction were you expecting from that, the 120?
I think that that's why there was a difference between the first survey and the second survey in the reaction to Slayer to 120. When it was just the proposition, the idea that I don't have to put any work in, but it's just going to be lots of monsters. Oh, lots of monsters. I love monsters. And I'm like that. I feel like that. It feels like something I want to vote for. As soon as I'm a maxed or comp player, and there is now the genuine prospect I'm going to lose my comp, I'm going to have to chase this for months. I think that probably tempered the kind of excitement a little. I know that's simplifying it a bit. There's a lot more in that. So imagine that multiplied by, whatever it is, 5,
Yeah.
By adding combat skills. I also want to do it right, and I think that if we do all of those skills at once, I think that would dilute the quality a little.
I suppose the real question is then, is the reaction and reception to when Slayer 120 comes in the game going to affect the future of those skills becoming 120?
Yeah, I won't lie. Moving existing skills to 120, this will be the first time that we've done it. The reaction to that is going to be, it's going to be a big part of whether we do it again. We're still in discussion about whether or not we poll it. The Select 120, or include it in expansions at all, because we're still what we call story pointing. We're still working out whether or not what we can get into an expansion, whether or not putting Slayer into 120 would mean that we couldn't do anything else in that expansion. So we're still playing around with that, and more news will come soon.
So
Gotcha.
when we look at, just to kind of elaborate on that, if we are looking at the scope of what we're putting into an expansion and the number of features that we're trying to fit, considering the mildly contentious, like it's 50-50. People are
it's pretty
on both sides. Like there's lots of people who are really will be looking forward to 120. There's lots of people who really don't want it to happen. And if we put a lot of effort into a feature that's kind of like 50-50, then maybe we can put that same amount of effort into something else that everybody really wants. And that's something that we toy with internally. There is a caveat on the other side that it's for the health of the game and it's for expanding content, so that always weighs in as well.
This is the unsaid thing about just why don't we just poll Slayer to 120? Why don't we just do that? Because we have to, as Jagex, decide whether or not this is best for the game. Sometimes you have to make decisions that are, is this better for the game? And so that loads whether or not we're going to do a poll at all. So we're kind of dithering. I know it feels like we're dithering on that subject, but for a reason.
Gotcha. Question from Cam Enigma. In what ways do you think a healthier PvP community would positively or negatively impact RuneScape 3? And that's an honest...
I find this question unusual in that I think it answers itself. The question says, if PvP generates a healthy community, would it be positive for the game? I feel like that's a healthy community.
Of course.
I feel like that doesn't have to negatively impact on anybody else in the game. I think that it gives an end-game option for players, which we're not overwhelmed with number of end-game options. That's why we're doing skilling end-game with Menaphos, is that to give people more things to do, because at the moment bossing is really kind of your end-game. I want to provide more options.
Okay.
But regardless, we're not going hell for leather for PvP. I think it's worth mentioning that the Bounty Hunter.
I was going to mention, obviously, that's next Monday.
Yeah, Wilderness. Yeah, next Monday. These are all kind of to see if we could grow a community, and we're just seeing if it works. As I been said so many times before, if it doesn't work, we'll probably start to, pare down any PvP updates.
Gotcha. Question from 5X. Do you have any plans for Invention content between levels 99 and 120, or Invention in general? Currently, there are only 2 fins unlocked between those levels.
So this is a fun conversation that we have quite frequently. Invention gives us a space for rewards. So this is a good thing.
That's why one of the reasons we did it.
Yeah. So we can start fleshing out those spaces. What we have at the moment is there's a lot of players at the lower end of Invention. And the space and time between the lower end of Invention and upper end of Invention for many players is quite long. For some players it's quite short because they buy their way past it and you churn money through and you accelerate your way through the levels. So it's kind of a chicken and an egg situation. We will continue to flesh out space, and we will be using 99 to 120 as a reward space for extra items and extra inventions that people can start building. But the more we try and put things in there, it actually came up in the Elite Skilling Outfit conversation. We're like, well, we can make that, we can put that in between 99 and 120. I mean, it's elite, and that's one way to make it properly elite. But by the time somebody gets there, they're going to be done with everything that they want the outfit for, so it doesn't really fit anymore.
I mean, sorry to jump in. I mean, it can go both ways, right? I mean, if you get to 99, but you're not done, you'd only be done when you get to 200 million, though, right?
Well, that's the thing. So.
Depends what your goal is.
Oh, no, for sure.
Some
yeah,
players
of course.
consider 200 million too much.
Yeah,
of course.
So now you don't have people accelerating to the end because there's no reason to get there because there's no rewards. And there's no rewards there because there's nobody accelerating there, so we're not trying to fill the space. So that's the chicken and the egg. We will be filling out that space. It is a reward space for us to bring items into, and you can expect that to be fleshed out throughout the years.
Yeah. Well, before we went to RuneFest and the reaction from RuneFest, we saw that 99 to 120 is a potential reward space. I mean, that's why we created Invention before. So we were going to litter it with rewards from quests, whatever we produce. I think it's subtly changed in that Invention 99 to 120 could have a more significant update, possibly with expansions in the future.
So do you think this is a wide open question, but I mean, in retrospect, do you think in the sense of you have your content for 1 to 99, do you not, even though it is an elite skill, do you not think it would have been better making it a 99 skill in the time because of the lack of content from 99 to 120?
We had a lot of discussions about it. It's a really good question. We sat down and we felt that, from talking to the players inside our company, that if a skill was to be elite, it needed to go to 120. A skill would be rejected if it didn't go to 120, like Dungeoneering had. It would feel like it wasn't something for a player to master, for really to put effort in and to get a lot of levels in. That was an internal feeling. You could argue that maybe we should have pulled that further out and into the community and asked them. Absolutely right. You could also wonder whether, at that time, we also knew, or thought we knew, that we were going to fill out 99 to 120 with content. Yeah. So that changed over the course of development, and we kind of went for the reward-based mentality, which we just talked about.
Gotcha. Okay. Question from MageBit. As of right now, the only skill skillers have to make reasonable money is divination. Are there any plans in 2017 besides the mining and smithing rework in an attempt to add value to the skilling community?
Yes.
Yes.
So the part that we're looking at with this, well, I feel is the kind of the end game of skilling that we're trying to bring in with Menaphos.
Yeah.
Like that as a reward space that we can try and make sure that it is more profitable and we're giving more rewards out of it. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I think so. There'll be tradable elements to clue scrolling. We want to make clue scrolling more of a kind of part of the core experience. At the moment, it is more niche, and I think there's a number of reasons for that. Like it's really difficult to get onto I can't be bothered. There's a lot of kind of hoops you have to jump through. I can only have one at a time. A number of these things that we just kind of open it up a bit. But really, you're looking at the Menaphos.
Gotcha. All right, we're going to move on to a couple, a Ninja question, a holiday event question. So obviously, we know we have Christmas 2016 coming up. Question from Zanil. Will holiday events return to being small quests rather than being grindy/retention focused? Obviously, referring to Halloween, etc.
So Kelpie had a really good description for this, and something that it's kind of frustrating because hindsight's always 2020. So we look at ways that we can... Last year's Christmas event's actually a good example. We deliver a quest, small, like little quest-style story, deliver it through the event, but also we open it up that you can grind on it afterwards if you want to. But you feel like you've completed the event, you've completed the story by doing it once. If you looked at Halloween, if you perform the actions in each of the rooms and complete the Halloween element as it was, you're done. You can continue to train on those areas if you wish, and you can use them as a training method for those skills. But it's not required for you to do it for the event. You'll have finished the event after completing it once. I think that's the kind of space we would move into. Do you feel that's...
Yeah, I am... So there's so many different events that we've done in the past. There are some players who really want us to return to quests, Swept Away, Broken Home, these permanent quest content. That would take the space of something like Fate of the Gods 2, something like, certainly Broken Home was as expensive.
Well, yeah, Broken Home was expensive.
I am wary of committing to that in the future. I am a fan of the story mini quest. I do like it. I'm wondering whether or not there needs to be a repeatable element at all. I wouldn't put that on the team, so I'd be interested in them. What I'm basically saying is I think we can trust that there is enough content in our game. They don't necessarily need repeatable elements to a holiday event. I think that's something we've subtly shifted to in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think that what people are looking for is something that's really kind of like it feels like the holiday. I've gone now, I've had a little bit of story, and I've got my unlock, and I'm showing it off to my friends, and then I can get on with doing what I was always doing.
I mean, jumping on it the other way, the one benefit that we do really get when we start having repeatable elements is we create a holiday hub.
Yeah, it's an environment.
So like you're in that space. I really liked the Christmas one last year, in that you could go there, people were there. It looked like Christmas. It was snowy. We were ice skating.
Yeah,
that was cool because it was Christmas time. It'd be cool if you're doing the environment for the Invention one felt like Halloween. It was dark. There was a brain in a jar. So you do get that benefit from the repeatable element, but delivering it as a single point to feel that you can complete it.
Yeah, I think you can do it.
I've completed the story. I've gone through that.
If it's any kind of reassurance, Christmas this year kind of nails that kind of aspect. It's a chunky piece of story content, gives you immediate reward, and gets everybody in the same place.
Gotcha. Just going back a little bit, you said Broken Home is expensive. Just to clarify, what do you mean by expensive? Is in time to make,
time and effort. So if you look
Fine.
at Broken Home, yeah, it was complicated. It was the first time we did a repeatable quest. There were a number of technical challenges in getting it working. Like there were a number of things that we had to jump over. It's a quest, right?
It's a very good quest. Yeah.
It's a lot of dialogue, a lot of story.
It was more a quest that
eggs.
happened to coincide with Halloween, so I would see it as kind of an exception.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Question from Panic Peach. Will the top 10 or so of the Ninja backlog be made public?
We had a fun discussion over this. Depends on how you look at what that backlog is. If we release the top 10, if you look at the number of fixes that we release regularly each week, that top 10 will be very, very changeable.
It would also be, as you said, what is coming out next week. So the top 10 would be the things that you'll see in the game next week. It would be a weird kind of pre-patch notes.
So do we look at bigger, like more architectural problems that we're looking at, like the larger scale things that we're continuously working on? Maybe. I felt uneasy, so we looked at this today, and Kelpie's not in today, and we don't like signing him up for things that he hasn't looked at. I think it's something that we might be able to toy with.
Okay.
Kind of pressure him a bit to try and be transparent.
I know. Yeah, I'm a fan
watching.
of a bit of transparency with it when it comes to Ninja kind of fixes, because then it doesn't feel like the ideas that you're coming up with on like chat now are being just thrown into a hole. It feels like you're contributing to a list in some way. I mean, I talked with James Kelpie about like a traffic light system, the idea that these are urgent and only grouping them in 3 but not like a full list. Because what we'll find, and no doubt it will happen, is arguments about individual ones, why they aren't higher. Things will constantly get bumped down by better ideas sitting on top of them, so it will feel frustrating, that experience. A number of these things would just make it inelegant and horrible.
That first point about what's important to some, it's one of the things that we see, even in the request for questions for this stream. Things that are frustrating someone in the moment at that time feel like they're the most important. Like there were questions that were coming in about minutiae detail in pieces of content for big questions, and for that player they're very important. And watching that never make it into the top 10 and never actually hit there because we're looking at global things just feels painful. But we still try and address those things. Like we still have ninjas trying to pick those pieces up and fix them and get those content fixes out. So I don't want to feel like that's causing that disconnect. So we need to find a solution that works for everyone.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question regarding Ninja, actually. I think it's safe to say they've really started to work recently on bigger projects. Why the sudden change to moving towards these bigger projects compared to in the past? You could say they would work on those quality of life fixes, etc.
This is something I feel pretty passionate about. I know that Kelpie has talked about it before. Ninja their remit isn't to produce lots of small fixes that improve the game. That's not what they do. What they do is they improve the game experience for everybody. That's what they want. You know, the quality of life, we often use that phrase. They're there to do that, and that doesn't mean small updates necessarily. Sometimes the biggest impact thing they can do is something like the bank rework. That's something that takes a bit longer, but changes the game for everybody, you know, new players, established players, and does so for the rest of all time. You know, this is something that's going to be persistent. And I'd like Kelpie to be making that choice. Oh, it's so frustrating. And to have the ability to, I mean, he's not delegated all of his resources to it. You know, you're probably looking at about half the team, but half the team can do something like bank rework. He
always makes sure that something is going through with smaller fixes. So there's a continuous churn of those coming out. But yeah, it is those bigger, sometimes the bigger things cause a bigger impact.
Yeah, I think that's the right way.
Gotcha. Question from 5X. Considering the recent discussions going...
all of the answers, or all of the questions.
5X, okay. Considering the recent discussions going on in the community, what are you going to do about the RuneScape official forums?
Oh, no, you're looking at me.
No, you're looking at me. So I think it's we try and make sure that we're updating the forums and watching the forums, and they've been wonderful. You know, it's wonderful to have that space that we can start speaking to our community, but also the most vibrant place for our community has moved away from the forums.
It has.
So if we need to get feedback quickly, or we need to get like more in-depth feedback or a broader sense of what the community are talking about, there are other places we need to go. So the forums will always be part of Jagex, and they'll always be part of RuneScape. But you can expect that any time we're talking in the forums, we'll also be talking on things like Reddit and Twitter. And we'll try and do what we can to support the forums, but the conversation has moved on. And so we have to go to where the conversation is happening.
There are certain instances that we use the forums for. I'm sure you could back me up, Shawnee. They're kind of like clan leaders, high-level forums. So they're a good place to go with specific questions.
Yeah, if we have we have our specific sections and we need specific people, then
all of these work well.
It's useful to have that. But as Connor mentioned, I mean, from what I've noticed since being in the RuneScape team and joining the community team is that like the forums are very they're the place to go for patch notes, because everyone comments there for patch notes. But when it comes to like live feedback, i.e. we need to get it straight away, it's kind of moved on to Twitter, where people can contact us straight, whether they tweet or Reddit, etc. And of course, we use the forums as well as that platform. So it can go both ways. But yeah, I mean, pretty much Connor's reply summed it up, really. So we're going to move on to another question from Nisho, I guess is how you say it. Can we please have some details on what has happened with the masterpiece that would be the RuneScape documentary? It has been months sitting in the dark without any information on it.
I meant to ask about this. I didn't ask anyone. Damn it! I was meant to do all the preparatory work.
You didn't ask anyone.
The most I can say is there's soon TM.
No!
That's about as close as I can get.
So things are going very well. We have people actively working on it right now. Where before we were still making decisions about things. So we've got a few additional scenes to shoot, a bit of rejigging of it. It's looking close.
Can we say by the end of the year?
I can't say anything.
Well, you did just say it. So.
I mean,
no, but I don't know. But I'd hope, considering it's 15 years, it would be.
We're aiming within the next few months.
I would say. I'm saying that as an optimist.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
It wouldn't be 15 years if we released in 2017.
We are aiming within the next few months for the documentary, which is great because we haven't been able to say that before. So you can see that there's progress.
Okay. I just wanted the only thing that matters to me is hopefully that it comes out before 2017.
You cannot believe how much I want it as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Leader Rob, in the clan leader forums, it was stated that the clan permission rewrite was being handed over to the ninjas. How high on the priority list is this? And if not that high, will its priority be increased now that Mod Osborne is making more contact with clan leaders?
So I did make contact with clan leaders. It's something I want to do more of. I haven't got back to them with kind of what's happened since. But Kelpie has, cleared some space for work on clans. What the updates are that they're going to do in that space, and that's reasonably significant. This is larger than Ninja updates. This is smaller than Bank Free work. It's in that massive gap in between those two. But it's dedicating some time to it. We just need to work out what are the most impactful things that we can do in that time, and that also takes into account all of the issues with developing in clans that is there. So there'll be certain weighting to things like if clan permissions turns out to be like we just cannot achieve it in that time frame, is a lot of background work because of the issues we've already talked about with clans, then it might drop lower. All I can say is that don't worry, dedicating some time for next year, we're just working out what's most impactful.
Fair enough. Echo Panda 187, what are you going to do to fix minigames?
Straight to the point.
Go fix the minigames there.
Okay, so here, to clarify upon that, they mentioned that even with certain minigames being spotlighted, i.e. Mo Fala, it still doesn't give you that bump to play them back to back.
I really feel for the minigame community because I can completely understand. The problem that we've had with minigames and updating minigames is they have had minimal impact. Really so limited. When we did things like kind of Barbarian Assault editions, Pest Control editions, there was almost zero change after that first week. So, it spikes. Of course it spikes. Everybody's intrigued. You want to go get the new rewards or farm the new rewards if there are any. But then it just drops back down again. And the levels we're talking about with minigames are really low. Far lower than distractions and diversions, far lower than raids, far lower than clans. It's all of these things that we've already said, like, we're having to leave off for next year because of the number of people playing them. There are things that I'd like to do. I don't think that's the end of minigames. I feel like, it would be great to bring these in as skill training methods, like taking elements of them and bring them in so that I can do them solo or something akin to that. There are things that we can do. It's just that I don't see a project on the sides of Barbarian Assault rework happening in the next year or short term at all.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. What we're finding is that more and more, when we give distractions and diversions, but not them, anything that takes you away from, you come in, you log in, you have a goal, you want to achieve your goal, and then you want to play a minigame. And the minigame only gets you partially the way there. And it's unlikely that everybody is heading that direction. The spotlight was supposed to try and focus when people will be able to jump on them. But still, they take you away from the core of what RuneScape is. And if you want to use them as a training method, that's probably the best way to try.
That's probably a good way of answering it.
So they are continuously contributing to your character.
Minigames have a tough life.
So I'll speak personally. I will admit the issue I think that it is that there are too many minigames.
Yeah.
I think there are way too many minigames.
Well, that's what Failure was designed to do, was to make it
for sure
like only one minigame worth playing right now.
Yeah.
And it does a job on pest control, but very little else.
I do feel like it kind of like if I look at a list and I see 20 minigames and I've gone to 2 and there's no one there, then I probably won't try the others because they won't be there. I think in that sense.
It's something I'd like to reopen with the team. As a little note, because it's on a side kind of tangent, Mod Maltair has gone onto the Reddit forums with a thread about dailies.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, it's. I want to reassure everybody that I know there are quite a few players.
Can you clarify? So, just for the people who don't go on Reddit, are you able to all the forums on the thread? Are you able to clarify what his intentions are with that thread?
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, we want to get a sense of what you consider to be a good daily, like something you feel like you have to do. And also,
like you want to do.
Or feel you want to do. Sorry, that's loading the question a little bit. Yeah. And then also, like, what are your feelings towards them? Do you feel kind of overloaded by that? You know, do you actually enjoy them, and which ones do you enjoy? So there's a number of questions. It's quite a long thread that he's put up there. The intention of this is that I've got this feeling. Certainly saw it from a thread that was posted up recently of what would you change to RuneScape, or top 3 things that you would change. Dailies came up kind of really surprisingly high. I think that people just feel it's a load, that it's something they have to do.
It's a chore. Because
it is so lucrative. You know, if you don't do it, you can't train to the degree that everybody else is, so I have to do it. And we want to attack that, we want to attack that soon.
Okay.
And there are several designs that I've seen kind of bandying about. I don't want to go too much detail because I want to let, like, players dictate this in some way. But things like, you know, kind of like, what would happen if Sinkholes you played every Tuesday? What if it was scheduled in that way? We turned up the XP to match that. And then you wouldn't feel pressured to play it every day, you know when it's on. Or, you know, we put them in some form of rotation, or we start stripping some out. And we talk with you guys in doing that. It's worth also noting that there's a different kind of daily that I don't think this counts with. You know, the idea that I have to go get my pineapples, I have to go get my battle staves, or flax. That kind of daily, I feel like, you know, we could pull into managing miscellanea, or we could just ignore anyway. I don't think those are the ones that are applying pressure on a player. But I'm really interested to see, maybe even straw poll it. Would you be interested in us attacking the number of dailies that are in the game?
Okay.
Probably in better terms than that, but attacking.
While we do that, because I know it's not on here, but you mentioned it. Raids 2, I believe you covered in a service stream a while back. I wasn't here for that one, but why is Raids 2 not happening in 2017?
Why is Raids 2 not happening in 2017?
Because the reason why I ask this is because we love to do what we call rune stats, which is show like these really cool little stats.
Oh, it came up twice in top 5, didn't it?
So yes, Durzag and Yakamaru came up twice in the top 5 of daily bosses or weekly boss kill. Not too sure which one was.
I mean, certainly, if you look at that data, it's, you know, there's some strength to the argument that we should be doing more raids. Obviously, if you look at the numbers, Araxor, like if you look at the sheer number going in any given time, Araxor stomps all over raids. But regardless, they're in the top 5, both of them. And that is significant. We were driven by the survey. Raids 2, if you put it up against other updates, even combat updates, it drops. It really does drop. I think that I find it important to cater to minority groups. Raids is a minority group, but a significant minority. And I think we need to do that. There are people in-house who are also really keen to do raids. And I know for a fact that there are a few who are investing time in it.
Rebelling.
Yeah, rebelling. and putting together work on raids. That could never see the light of day. But regardless, we're looking at it.
Okay.
So more news when we have it. But I think, and we're not committing to anything, but there are people in-house who really want to see raids out.
Can you remember how many people took that survey? It was into the fact. It
was 60,000.
It was 50,000.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure.
Obviously, that's not all of the player base.
Of course.
But what can you do? I mean, that's a huge sample.
Gotcha. Okay. Go back to a bit more general questions. What's happening for free-to-play players to get excited about in 2017?
So I think one of the big things for free-to-players is kind of like what we've done this year, where we're trying to open up more members' content to make it available for them. And I think we'll continue that through next year. So we should see more quests, more areas in the game. We'll try and open up that space a bit more for them.
But if you look at the kind of updates we've announced, there's a huge number that are free to play in some way. I mean, mining and smithing, as was mentioned. I'm losing it now. Achievements,
bank rework,
clue scrolls. All of these have free to play aspects, or could have free to play aspects that we're looking at today. I think it's going to be a good year for free to play.
Sorry, JD, we can't really see the percentage because it's on the other monitor.
Would you be interested in?
There we go. Okay. Well, I mean, less is winning, but obviously the straw poll isn't indicative of everyone.
So 2/3 of the live stream is saying they'd like fewer. The others are saying either more or just right. That's pretty significant to me. I'd like an answer that doesn't feel like we're just tearing away the content people like.
I do feel it is significant, but of course that doesn't reflect.
That's not old school rules. That doesn't pass the 75%.
It is, but it's not exactly representative of everyone else who obviously isn't watching the stream and might not have that opinion.
Yeah. But we're still going to do more things. We're also going to look at the kind of data as well. How many people are playing these things?
All right. So obviously MTX, as we know, it can go. We've seen responses from here, there, and everywhere regarding that. It seems with MTX updates, we go one step forward and 2 steps back. What measures have we put in place to ensure that the sanctity of RuneScape, the game that we know and love, is maintained?
Such a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
It's all Shawnee's wording, I'm sure.
Shawnee. Okay, so we're looking kind of like what we were talking about with the rewards earlier on, and looking at how we can allow you can achieve right now. You can, if you have gone out, you've made purchases, you feel like you have the rewards and you feel value. On the same way, if you're playing the game, we value your time, we value the effort you're putting in. So similar to what we're releasing next week with the elite skilling outfits, what we've done at the moment with the Birth of Fire, it is Birth of Fire, isn't it?
Yes.
When they have an internal dev name, you're always
the seasonal event. Yeah.
So with events like that, we're looking at ways that if players are actively engaging with the game and they feel like they can through regular play. And the other thing with Birth of Fire is it doesn't ask you to do a specific action that's outside of what you're probably going to be doing anyway. You can do your regular training and you can take part. And so we're not distracting from what you want to do, what you want to get out of RuneScape. I think that's the way we'll start looking.
Yeah, I think we're still learning with these promos and things like that. I think that every single example that have come up recently that has had a bit negative, kind of sentiment, and rightly so, is just stuff that we learn from. With the zombie promotion, a lot of the tasks were more difficult, and that was largely because it was tied to Mauritanian content and things like that that was inherently more difficult. We know this, we like that kind of promo. People seem to like playing them. We've learned that. We're going to pare down that difficulty next time round. With the Hanto outfit, for example, we gave away kind of really kind of graphically beautiful stuff, and we just talked about how we deal with that in kind of game updates. We're also kind of like a little bit more sensitive about how we tie into game updates, putting gameplay benefiting gear on promos. I'm looking at there are examples through our history with promos where we have learned and we haven't done it since, like the Shadow Drake. We haven't produced something so large since. We are learning, and we want to have the pattern of innovating with each promo, doing something different to keep it fresh, rather than just repeat and rinse.
I think it's safe to say, so obviously the Birth of Fire went out today, so I've been watching the sentiment and stuff on it. I think the gist of it, and what I've seen anyway, is that majorly positive in the sense that this is an event that you need 10,000 embers, you can get it 1,000 a day, but it's 14 days to do it. So you could not do it for 4 days and still fully complete it. And that's an example where people can appreciate that because they're still doing their usual stuff, but they can still participate in that event as they're doing it as well.
It's an evolution of Radlin and God Wars Encampment.
But I mean, I think it's safe to say, it's gone down. That's gone down very well for sure.
Yeah.
4 Inches of Fury asks. I swear to God, these names are just placed.
I chose that one just for the name.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Big questions.
It's a very big. It's actually. It's a big question, actually. Has a rework to the tick system ever been seriously considered?
All of the time, day in, day out.
It's just so easy to do. I don't know why we haven't flipped
we should
the switch.
just what we have
Can
right
you
is like
stop, please.
When you look at like a volume dial and you just turn it up. What we've done is we've turned it all the way down to the bottom, but we can turn that up. No, so we look at this very regularly. I have very, very regular conversations with our engine team, Mod Atlas. Or is he Mod God?
No, he's Mod Atlas.
Yeah,
He's
Mod Atlas. So we talk about what we can and can't do. It's in the list of that WASD movement, make the world bigger. What's the other one?
WASD movement. Sorry, did you
faster? Oh yeah.
WASD
These,
movement.
like
Okay.
these are so there is the staple of probably 5 conversations. There's like a running joke about every month we will come back with one of these things, and I will ask him the same question again, and he will respond in probably the same way. We had an idea on how we would do the tick system, but it would break about 80% of the content in the game. So we have to find a way that we can solve that, and then we can look at doing something with it. However, the second you change the tick system, the feel of the game changes. So now what we have to do is try and change the core mechanic and tick that the game works on, while not changing how any of the game functions on top of it. But then in the future, we can make advantage of the fact that it's ticking faster, and we can retrofit all of the things in the world. So we have short answer, yes, we talk about it frequently. Yes, we'd love to do it.
So to make your life more harder now, I'm going to say, the more you keep thinking about it, and the more game content we keep adding, the more this keeps becoming a problem.
No, so the core, the problem comes from the core of RuneScape. The rate at which you skill.
Sure.
The way combat works, the way the combat tick works, the way the animation system works. And those are so inherent that the more content we add, it doesn't actually make the problem any bigger because it's so big.
Okay.
You can't get any bigger.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably a way we could make it better. We haven't quite solved it yet.
Gotcha. Timerk asks, when can we expect a player model rework?
This was the biggest update on the survey. We quietly put it on there anyway, just to see how it would do. Because, of course, it comes number 1.
Then
This is why it's big questions, Connor. This is why it's big questions.
I know. Well, this is a big question. So, I don't like delving into the reason it's a problem. I don't like wallowing in the issues.
Okay.
However, I will in this turn. The way the RuneScape player model is built is that each individual item, that is every piece of headgear, gloves, torso, legs, boots, capes, wings.
We know what you're talking about, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah. Every single one of them would have to be changed individually.
Okay.
So when you said the tick system continues to get worse, and I said, no, it doesn't. This one, however, continues to get worse the more we don't do it. However, we're structuring how we build things in a way that we could theoretically do it better in the future now. But there are a number of things we'd need to fix. It is a monumental effort for us to do that effort.
Would you say it's quicker to do a chat head rework, so a facial rework?
Well, I mean, it locks it down to just dealing with the head and not the body and feet and arms and everything.
All right.
So, it kind of divides it by 5.
Okay.
It's another way of looking at it. M_with_Z asks, do we get any input in the clue scroll rework?
Yes. So that's worth mentioning that there are a few updates that are upcoming that we're going to use the developer diary format or publish design documents, or at least like opening it up on Reddit forums, that sort of thing. Clue scrolls is a big one of those. So clue scrolls is going to open up. Achievements is another. Bank rework, if it hasn't already, is another. Menaphos will have at least a kind of Road to Elf City style kind of transparency. So there you go. Yeah, those.
Gotcha. Duke605 asks, do you have any plans for improving the current API in the near or distant future in regards to clans, items, ports management, etc.?
Do we have an API?
We
do.
Not really.
Well,
it's not what I call it. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's just make this real easy. We don't have any current plans, but I'm not saying that it's impossible. Just nobody's working on it or has it on any backlog or any plan right now. There are a few things that people have raised that we could try and do in the future, and I'm aware of... No, actually, that won't help. Not really.
Okay. What are we doing to market the game in the future? So obviously, as we mentioned new players, how we plan to try and acclimatise new players and try and make their experience more enjoyable. But what are we doing in regards to marketing out and grabbing new players, etc.?
This was one of the things that came up when we were talking about expansions.
Yeah.
You'd be unsurprised to learn that actually, because we're a 15-year-old game, Games Press, for example, aren't particularly interested in talking about us, which is a real shame because they're missing something. We are relevant. There is some stuff that we're doing that's pretty exciting. So to shout a little bit louder, expansions does that. That helps the market. That's one avenue.
Yeah, so it's something that is easily understandable by people, especially people who don't play RuneScape.
Yeah.
You can latch on to something.
Yeah, I'm looking at a note that says, Dave, don't scratch your beard.
I don't even have a beard. I did. I trimmed this morning. I was like, oh, I don't know. What's happening when I scratch my beard?
Stubble noise.
Stubble noise.
Oh, do you like that?
Don't. No.
I bet you like that, don't you?
I'm not gonna.
Sorry.
Oh, dear God. What am I talking about?
Marketing.
Yeah, so
I
that,
know, but think
that
4
means
inches of fury.
What we have right now, right? It's okay. It's okay. What we have right now is we release fairly frequently, every week, and there's at least something major every 4 or 5 weeks. So by the time we have built up hype for one thing, it's finished, then we're building up hype for the next thing, and we move on to quickly for people to really rally around something. Expansions changes that, gives us something to rally around, build up at the start, something for everybody to talk about and discover together, and really get stories going post-launch.
Yeah.
And then we can start talking about the next one after a couple of weeks, months.
Before I jump onto this question, just before, obviously we announced expansion 1, Menaphos. Can you give an ETA when you're going to announce number 2?
It's nice. Well, it's kind of nicely coordinated that. Summer Summit. I'm going to almost commit to Summer Summit here.
Oh, jeez. No, he can't. No.
Don't cut me. I'm going to talk.
He can't talk. He just...
At the point of when Menaphos launches, that's about the time that I'd imagine we'd start talking about expansion 2. That's so that we don't muddy. We want everybody to focus on this beautiful thing.
You wouldn't want it to overshadow number 1, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that also conveniently is around the time of Summer Summit. My notion, my idea would be to do something at that kind of event, but that was a lot of work and caused a lot of tears for a lot of people.
It was great.
We're definitely doing that again.
As long as you don't say happy birthday to me at the end of it, we'll be fine. Yeah, no, I don't think so. What can we do to make RuneScape more appealing to top streamers and video makers?
I'm a fan of
Super Bowl moments.
Super Bowl moments. Yeah, that's on my bingo card. I've got a bingo card.
That's a bingo card. Okay.
I'd like to build content that is something that people obviously want to play. They want to play with others. They want to share with others, and then let the streamable element kind of grow organically. I think the mistake that I made with Shattered Worlds when announcing it was say that it's inherently streamable, as if we were only creating this content so that people could live stream it, and that's obviously just a proportion of the community. The trick or the secret is to create something that people want to stream.
Where are all the secrets?
Because where am I going with this? I don't think we're going to create content that's streamable in its
I think it's safe to say the community can help each other with this, right?
Yeah.
That's the big part.
Okay.
If we want to increase the number of people streaming, then having the community support streamers, that's number 1. What we can do from content creation is make sure that we're delivering things that are inherently exciting. It is exciting to watch. You can join in with the streamer not knowing what's going to happen next.
I think there's a move to this as well. I think that certainly over the past 6 months, you could point to a number of updates that feel a bit grindy, and that's been felt by us. We've understood that, we know that, and I think that certainly I'm going to be talking to the team at the end of this week about that notion of bringing more. Creating something that you yourself would want to play, not being scared of doing fun elements. Fun doesn't have to be a mini game and therefore not particularly played. You can bring that into bake that into the core of your content. And so, going to get that in there more.
We're also going to be looking at some features that we can probably do to support streamers in the game. I have no particular details, but it is something that we're aware of and will likely be working on in the coming months.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to get Mod Sailing on the couch with us in just a moment. So yeah, feel free to hop on over. We've got some stuff to talk about regarding a little teaser at the end of last week's BTS, and now that everyone's going to just move closely together, because why not? If there's any more of a separation of these guys from me.
Oh, Connor.
There we go. Don't sit on the microphone back with the bursty eardrums. Hello, Connor. Okay.
We enjoyed that for a little bit.
Yeah, we were off screen, but it was good.
So, at the end of last week's BTS, there was a slight teaser of something that we know and love as Premier. What are you doing?
None of this is on the script.
He's good at this.
This is how
there was something that we know, and it's been kind of like a yearly tradition now called Premier Club.
Of course.
So, you know the first question I'm going to ask you is, do we have a release date for when Premier Club is coming into game?
We do have a release date for when Premier Club is coming to game, and I'm happy to release it now if you want to. So Premier Club will be the 28th of November this year. That's when Premier Club will be hitting. Monday the 28th.
So,
I thought when you said it, we were going to release it now.
Yeah.
Right. yeah.
Get it, guys. Release. No, sorry,
we didn't put that button in.
No.
That would explain why you looked at me and I was like, why are you looking at me like that
Did
for?
he say release it now? That's basically what that look was.
So,
Anyway.
am I able to ask you regarding the price of Premier Club? Is it changing or anything like that
You
regarding
can
this?
ask me anything you want. Sean.
Fine. Price.
Oh, here we go. So price-wise, yes. So I want to give as much detail as I can, obviously,
Fine.
but I'm not going to give everything away. But price-wise this year, I think people will be pleasantly surprised. In past years, it's always been like a year's worth of membership plus a bit extra because there's loads of premium content. We're kind of changing the way that Premier Club works this year quite massively.
Okay.
So basically this year it will be a discount. So it'll be a discounted price on top of everything else that you usually get in your Premier Club membership. And that is why, on top of everything, I know there's been a lot of questions on the forum and on Reddit and all that kind of stuff on Twitter as well about the fact that we had an old school logo at the end of the teaser on the video of the BTS. And that is because, yes, there will be an old school Premier Club this year, and that is because Premier Club will be kind of available to everyone because it will be a discounted membership. So.
Yeah, so just to clarify, the old school variant is basically the discounted membership.
Yep,
Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
Are we talking discounted as well as grandfather rates? Sorry, some people are paying less.
Yes, of course. So that's still some of that is still trying to be worked out at the moment. At the moment, it's a discounted rate for everyone. There's one rate at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you able to say if the bonds are if the bond prices for the? So first of all, is the tiered membership still there?
Yes.
And the bond prices for each one going to still be the same despite the discounted membership?
As in, same as last year?
Yeah.
No, they're cheaper.
So the bonds will be cheaper as well?
Bonds are cheaper as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So,
Crash bonds.
Sorry. Apologies. Sorry, Timbo.
Minutes.
crash bonds. Awesome, okay. So, as we know, we've had, will it be an outfit?
There is an outfit, yes.
Can you share anything about it, or are you going to keep that quiet?
We're keeping that
swanky.
quiet at the moment. It's swanky. I like
It's
that.
pretty
That's-
swanky.
It's really swanky.
It's really swanky.
Slap that on your marketing materials. It really is. It's lovely.
That is the banner. Premier Club. It's
Swanky.
There you go.
Osborne.
Make sure you spell that right.
Okay. Loyalty points?
There are loyalty points, yes. Bonus loyalty points, not just the ones you already get, but extra on top.
Aura?
There's an aura, and the thing about the aura this year, and I'm again not going to give too much away, previous years we've always had an aura that has done one thing that one group of people really like, and another group of people find kind of useless. Yeah, they're not really bothered by it. So we've kind of changed the way the aura works this year. There are...
It's kind of a suite of effects.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Yeah, there's like a bunch of different things that you can do with the aura. You earn kind of charges, and as you earn them, you can choose what the aura does to fit your playstyle at any given time. It's 12 months we're talking about. Your playstyle's going to change over the year.
For everyone. You make loads of stuff.
There we go. Exactly.
VIP badge for gold members.
Back.
Is back and is still staying in.
Yep.
Okay. And is there any? I might be missing some stuff. Is there anything else I'm missing from that list?
There's all the stuff like the Premier Club World for RuneScape. There's the VIP forums, the VIP badge as well in the forums. Kind of all the suite of usual things that you expect from Premier Club, including the game card items for all of 2017.
So for this year, of course, that included Crystal Peacock stuff.
Exactly. All the stuff.
Actually, someone said, is the armor more swankier than the Crystal Peacock in the chat? That's what I noticed.
I'm going to say yes.
It is.
I think it is, yes.
Yes, I would say
Definitely
so.
is.
Don't get me wrong,
swanky bar.
the Crystal Peacock armor was pretty swanky, and so use that as your kind of your gauge. It's swankier.
Well, so we have kind of swanky, pretty swanky, and really swanky.
This is the full swank.
and the full of swank.
The full swank.
Just on the wall.
We haven't-
Just the,
We haven't reached full swank yet.
no, not yet.
So
We've got space.
you mentioned discount price. Are you able to say the price right now?
Not right now, no.
Okay, fine.
That will be announced in the very near future, though.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
So to summarise, it's basically discounted on both the real money as well as bonds to purchase. You can get all of the stuff like you can from 2016's package.
Yep.
But an aura that lets you do different things to your choice, whatever they may be. Of course, a new outfit.
Yep.
And there's something else I've completely missed. And the loyalty points.
Loyalty points, yeah. And just to clarify as well, like the old school one is just completely
It's just
discounted
for membership.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's if you buy the old school one, you get everything in RuneScape, just like normal membership. And if you buy like a bronze, silver, or gold old school one, you get all the same benefits of the bronze, silver, and RuneScape ones as well.
And for those who purchase the previous Premier Club, they keep their existing Magma Aura at a reduced kind of effectiveness.
Yes.
Okay.
How long do people get it for?
So it's going to be available for about 12 weeks. So the usual
So
December,
about,
January
yeah,
period.
okay, awesome.
Exactly.
Um,
And also, it's 50% off room metrics as well if you're a Premier Club member for 2017.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Okay, awesome. I think we are at, I mean, we've gone an hour, 5 minutes of just insane big questions and everything else. But I mean, if you guys want to stop looking at my script, if you guys want to throw anything else in the chat, we will, thank you. We will try and answer what we can. So we'll give you guys a couple of minutes to ask whatever questions you'd like, and we'll try and answer what we can. But I think it's safe to say, I mean, personally, these kind of streams, I wish and hope that they become either a monthly or quarterly thing.
Yeah, let us know if you like
I
this.
think they're really awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like real insight, I think, that comes out of them.
I think that live streams can go either way, can't they? You can often get into a lot of the small details of what you'd like to change. Sometimes it's nice to just step back and have a talk about RuneScape as a whole from, you know, obviously the people who are designing it or whatever
Don't do anything.
Whatever you do.
Why am I here?
in relentless meetings.
I did spot one question in the Twitch chat. Is there going to be a PayPal exclusive for Premier Club this year like there was last year?
No. I think
No
that's
PayPal.
last year.
Okay. Is there any exclusives at all?
That wasn't last year, no, it was year before.
Oh, yeah,
that
before,
was year
apologies.
yeah.
Is there any exclusives at all?
No, it's going to be kind of.
Well, the outfit's
Blanket for everyone.
exclusive to Premier Club.
No, the outfit. I know
Obviously.
the outfit's exclusive to Premier Club. It's not about the payments and
I think he's
stuff
doing
like
it on
that.
purpose.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to antagonise.
So easy. Did we cover Iron Man?
So we haven't really said anything about Iron Man. Iron Man. I mean, in regards to Premier
In regards
Club.
to Premier Club,
Yes.
so they'll get. Well, the only thing that will affect them really is the aura.
Okay.
And I am not the person who should be answering that question.
That would be a Ramen
Is that-
question.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that something? Ramen is in the chat.
Is he in the chat?
Ramen, please tell us how this.
Yeah, he is in the chat.
Has he seen the aura?
He has, yes. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do,
Mohawk has spoken to him about
is there an extra daily key? As there was.
There is, yes, of
Okay.
course, yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. Just wanted to clarify that one as well. What are you doing for your birthday, Shani? No, I'm not answering that one. Do you have any future plans to support fan sites from leader Rob in the Twitch chat there, spotted?
Ooh, no, that's a very good question.
And not one that we prepped.
I mean, I know that you've been talking to fan sites, haven't you? Is
Nah,
there something that you
so-
can
Wait, you.
Yes. Okay, take the script away.
You've been
Fine.
talking
So,
to
Shawnee,
Wikia, for example.
Yes, Connor.
What are you going to do to
I'm
support
actually-
fan sites?
I'm participating in the dev Q&A. This is unreal. So I, in the time I've been.
It's not easy, is it?
No, give me a chance.
Hurry up.
I
The
don't do
questions
this
are
to
too big
you.
for him.
No, in the time that I've had, like spare time, like to me, like RuneScape Wiki, as we know, is like everyone that uses it. Even people in Jagex use it when they go to for their lore knowledge, etc. Like I've been trying to help out RuneScape Wiki when it comes to new releases and stuff, because sometimes it's very difficult to get screenshots of stuff, because obviously they have to do their posing. That's like one thing. Like the dream goal, of course, is to try and help these fan sites build up and help them get the objectives they want. From that perspective, it's a little bit more difficult because there's a lot of processes. Like a lot of fan sites want API stuff. We covered APIs. Like RuneClan.com uses our API as much as it can, and they want more because they want to present the data in all these different ways. But it's very difficult to do that at the moment when the API is, well, as you said, it's not really an API. But I mean, if there were improvements, then we could use that to go over it. But most of the improvements really are to do with like API and stuff like that. Because I can't blame them for that.
If they wanted to get in touch, they should get in touch with you. Is this what you're saying?
Not me directly. We have a fan site.
Straight to you.
We have a mailbox. We have a fan site's mailbox.
Blood Twitter.
Will NXT be getting high-res textures? Or speaking of which, I mean, the lighting was shown off in Menaphos, right? The Menaphos trailer had that lighting, volumetric lighting.
Volumetric
Can we talk about that?
Well, yes, that's volumetric lighting.
Yes.
It makes things look really pretty. So we are looking at a number of graphical features that we'll be releasing throughout 2017. And what we're going to try and do is make sure that expansions feel like a step up each time we launch them. There are a couple of things that we have on the plan for Menaphos, volumetric lighting being one of them. I actually saw a video of, in the most vague way I can possibly say a video using volumetric lighting for an update that'll be coming out this year with a character that looked incredible, but you won't be able to see it with volumetric lighting until next year, which was gutting. To be fair, it would run like a dog if we shipped it the way it is at the moment. Most machines would fall over. In terms of high-res textures, we still try and make sure that assets are delivered quickly and that the requirement for RuneScape is kept fairly low. So pushing up all of our textures, we would be pushing up a bit, not massively. You wouldn't be doing things like, well, we're not going to 4K. But what we would try and do, I was going somewhere with this. One of the features that we're looking at is the way our material system works. So if anybody's aware of what materials are and how they function in games, we'll be expanding our feature set in that. And I did see an awesome example where we tested out normal maps throughout God Wars Dungeon 2, the Heart of Gielinor. It looked incredible, like changed the feel of the whole place. Really brought out kind of the battle damage that was caused along all the platforms and everything. That was all lifted up. You could see all the individual little rocks and everything. So that looked awesome. We'll be looking at when we can try and ship that and how we can kind of spread it out throughout the world without you seeing very clear, oh, look, there's normal maps there, so I can see all the texture on the bark, but over here is a flat polyed tree that looks really boring. So how we can blend it out and make sure that we can just lift the whole world.
Do we see any changes coming up regarding Companion app?
I am chatting with a couple of people about the structure of Companion app and some of our plans for 2017 in relation to what mobile is for RuneScape. I've no specific details I can go into right now, but it is something that we talk about quite frequently.
Gotcha. I spotted a question from the chat, probably for you, Maltailin, but from WinCap, how will stuff like the spider outfit play into the Premier Club?
So the spider outfit was a RuneCoin kind of purchase specialty item. The Premier Club covers game card items, and the reason for that is because a lot of the people who buy Premier Club who may have bought a game card are buying it for membership, and that's what they were redeeming it for. So we would like to make sure that those people who would have got those items in the first place get them. RuneCoins is obviously a little bit different because everyone's open for RuneCoins, and things in Solomon's store are kind of RuneCoin based. So they are two different separate things, and we will keep them separate. So we'll have game card items and then maybe spider stuff in the future.
Gotcha.
I say spider stuff in the future. I mean more RC bundle things in the future. Unless people want spider stuff, because they love making it upstairs. So if you like spiders, we'll give you spiders.
I'm going to ask two more questions. We're going to finish here. UI scaling for RuneScape.
Why are you targeting me with all these things? Yeah, it's something that we're looking at.
Because you just tagged me.
Yeah,
so
I know. No,
returning the favour.
that's fine. That's fine. So the UI doesn't behave well with very high resolution monitors, as you know. We're looking at ways that we can maintain the customizability of the UI, in the fact that it can be anywhere at any time, but also allowing it to better represent itself on those high-res monitors. I think Mod Atlas was looking at a possible solution that was going around. I don't know any specifics on it. It is something that we're looking at. Hopefully it will be solved eventually. I can't even say soon. Like, it's really awkward. It's proper broken.
Okay. 15-year veteran cape. I believe.
When is that?
It kicks in. I think it kicks in from early 2002 is when it started tracking the creation
so
dates.
So it's start of next year, is it?
Ish. I mean, I think so.
We had a 1-year grace period.
Was it 1 year? I was wondering if it was 2. Well, we better get on that.
Right.
I've seen a fabulous design on Reddit.
Okay.
With the XV kind of integrated into the cape, which was lovely. So I'm aware of that one. Yeah, we're on it.
We got it. Don't worry.
We got this.
It'll happen. There'll be a beautiful cape. It might have an emote because they all do.
Okay.
I'm totally just kind of
just keep
just going to add features.
keep adding it to the checklist by all means.
Volumetric lighting is tied directly to the. No, that's actually a lie.
All right, so I think it's been a long time since we've had like a very long-winded dev Q&A, but I think for this situation and this circumstance,
Long-winded.
yeah, it's been a lot of talking. for the circumstance where hopefully we answered a lot of questions that that you guys wanted to hear, and hopefully you can you got the stance on it from Mods Osborne and Mod Connor, of course. We had Mod sailing on to talk about Premier Club. To summarise that for you, it's starting on November the 28th.
That's great.
Discounted price on membership as well as bonds. Will come with the stuff that is that has been in the 2016 Premier Clubs, in the 2016 Premier Clubs, such as the loyalty points, the badge, the extra key, the world, and also comes with a new aura with different options.
Yep.
And a new swanky outfit, to use Mod Osborne's words. Also, do remember next Monday we will be releasing the elite skilling outfits in game. Is there anything you want to say regarding that, actually? Because I think that's something you guys kind of work on.
It's going to be really good. I don't want to give too much away because obviously it's kind of down at the moment.
Okay.
But it'll be releasing. It came out. Obviously, it's been delayed a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's
we
'cause
announced
put
the design.
fine-tunings
didn't
on.
we?
Yeah, we announced the design.
Yeah, and so it is going to follow that design that we put out there.
Gotcha.
But it's been going through some fine-tuning. So thank you for waiting with us and being patient with us. We appreciate that.
And yeah, that's coming out next Monday. Of course, Bounty Hunter releases next Monday as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. But I mean, before I finish, is there anything you guys want to say?
I think that I'm Rubik's going to have a hell of a time.
It'll be one hell of a
this.
TLDW
I do
for
feel
sure.
for him.
They said some stuff.
NXT stuff, lighting stuff.
I don't know, things happen.
But do remember, there is an election, but it's not the one coming up today. It's the one coming up in a few weeks when Zaros takes on Zamorak. Yeah, I fooled you all there. But with Children of Ma coming up as well. Don't do this to me.
So neat.
Anyway, I tried.
It's more important as well.